Welcome to Onward Shift. Dive into compelling personal stories, celebrating achievements, and navigating hardships. Join us for insights that inspire and empower us to flourish together. Hey, I'm Vishal Narbheram, and today I'll be openly speaking about some of the struggles associated with overthinking. I'll be sharing some personal stories and the impact it has had on my mental and emotional health, along with some facts and some ways I have learnt to overcome it. Failing, winning, doubt, and courage. Let's get into it. I think it's important to start with understanding what overthinking is. The definition of overthinking is to think about something too much or for too long. And a description I read on a medical association is when you dwell on or worry about the same thing repeatedly, people who overthink can be paralyzed by their worries and may struggle to make decisions or take action. Overthinking can be caused by and contribute to depression, anxiety, and other mental health disorders. I think that it is important to understand that there are great definitions of overthinking. But here is what I feel overthinking is in real life context. Overthinking is constantly panicking about saying the right thing, being the right person, not doing enough, doing too much. Do I smell funny? Do my clothes fit properly? Did I put the dishwasher on? Have I locked the car? 10 minutes into a journey. Oh crap! I remember turning off the iron. But did I? Then there's the second part, and that is the what if part of overthinking. What if I do this thing, then it affects something else? What if I get laughed at? What if nobody likes this post I've spent ages putting together? Or what if I don't remember that person's name who I met not too long ago? Honestly, I think I just got overwhelmed by saying all of that. Let me take you back to the beginning of this podcast, where I swear to you I sat there in front of a blank screen for about 15 minutes thinking of the next topic to talk about. I waited and waited, then all of a sudden it hit me. I'm going to talk about overthinking, something I'm notoriously good at. And honestly, if there was an award for this, I'd get gold medal. But you know what, let's definitely not compete on that, right? But yeah, I got started and I wrote Overthinking as the title. And bang, no word of a lie, it begun. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I get it wrong? What if I get laughed at? Is it too vulnerable? Am I even good enough? Like, what's the point? Okay, so I definitely just got overwhelmed again. I've taken that deep breath. Let me get back into it. So where do I begin? Well, firstly, it's okay to have all these thoughts. I think it's pretty natural to worry about the unknown or be scared to do something outside of your comfort zone. But for me, I didn't let it take over. I had these thoughts, I let them run the course, then I just got started. I started taking notes and soon enough, the thoughts disappeared and I was in a flow. The worries left and the overthinking did vanish. It soon became fun. It soon became something I really wanted to do. It doesn't matter if nobody listens. It doesn't matter if I get parts wrong. Going back to my last podcast of not feeling good enough, this doesn't need to be that feeling. I feel because doing the best I can with the tools I have is the only thing I can do. And you're here right now listening to it. So I'm really glad that the overthinking didn't take over, because I wouldn't have got to this stage we're at now. Next time I guess you're feeling overwhelmed, remind yourself that it's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to be a little scared, but remember you're good enough. So get started and see where it takes you. I think it's important to understand why we overthink and some of the benefits and disadvantages of it. Reminding yourself that overthinking is a human thing to do, and millions of people struggle with it daily. Forbes Health published some statistics in March 2023 that claims 73% of 25 to 35-year-olds chronically overthink, and along with 52% of people aged 45 and 55. That's unbelievable. That's such a high percentage. There's so many of us in the exact same boat. Here's an advantage of overthinking, and along with a few disadvantages of it. An advantage to overthinking can actually be you analyze problems from different angles to find the best solution. Now, that's not a terrible thing to do. It's always good to step outside of the situation and look at it from different angles. There's a fine line between overthinking in a healthy way to excessively overthinking, which is unhealthy. And some of the disadvantages of this are it can make you more stressed, prevent you from making decisions, drain your energy, and stop you being present in the moment. As you can see, the disadvantages massively outweigh the advantages. So let's start thinking about solutions for this. How do we stop overthinking? Well, it's important to start with baby steps. Take things nice and slow so it's a natural progress, not something you tackle head on. Here's a few personal ways I've found solutions to overthinking. Recognizing I'm overthinking and reminding myself not to let those thoughts take over. Acknowledging my successes by remembering my previous achievements. Staying present and appreciating how far I have already come and trying not to race too far ahead. Reminding myself that I am good enough. Taking action, even if it's something small, by unfollowing someone on social media that consistently triggered me. And lastly, this one is something that I struggle with quite a lot, but it also helps me the most, and that is asking for help. It's something that I think, generally speaking, is quite hard to do. It's so vulnerable. It's genuinely hard to do, I'd say. But me and my girlfriend have got this thing going on. So where she can see me overthinking something, she puts a distraction in place by asking me a question like, I don't know, oh, you mentioned you wanted to do the gardening today. When are you looking to get started on that? And all of a sudden it takes me completely away from the overthinking spiral, and it takes me to a more calm place of doing something completely different. And most often than not, I've soon forgotten about what I was overthinking about in the first place. Now, although these work for me, you should take some time to research what works best for you. Make sure you make it a fun project rather than rushing it. Trial and error always helps. Don't be disheartened by the things that don't work. Something else most definitely will. Just to be completely transparent, I haven't always got this right. In all honesty, sometimes I overthink so much I never get started. Then I'm really hard on myself for not getting started, which makes things even worse. Putting myself down is another thing I seem to have mastered, but that's a topic for another day. This actually takes me back to my last company where I was terrified of doing this rewire. It was only a small job and a pretty easy one. Nothing I hadn't done before, but never for myself. And the overthinking kicked in, and it unfortunately won. I ended up telling the customer I wasn't able to do the install, which wasn't remotely true, but the fear and the overthinking won that time. Looking back, I think I should have been more patient with myself maybe, taking longer, even breaking even on a job, which means not making a profit, but beat that overthinking side of my brain. It took nearly a year for me to build the courage up and actually go out and do my first rewire, which ended up being a 3-bed semi-detached house, and that actually went really well. And I'm sure the 1-bed would have gone just as well, the first job which I rejected. Here's a quote by Martin Luther King, and although it don't exactly relate to overthinking, I think it kind of does. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. I feel this quote is interesting because when we're in that overthinking state of mind, we need some light to get us away from it. And if it doesn't work, then the hate does sweep in and it makes the situation worse. Then at that stage, I think we need to be more sympathetic to ourselves by allowing us the opportunity to love ourselves for who we are and what we've already accomplished. Let me know your thoughts on that. Now, I'm not sure if anyone can relate with me on this one, but I recently got a puppy. And I want to start by saying I love him with all my heart. He's just honestly perfect. And before getting him, I read literally every article I could. I watched so many YouTube videos and even bought a puppy training book in preparation of him. I was overthinking every situation that I could, from finding the perfect food to finding the best location for his bed, and even buying all the toys and researching all the toys I bought him to make sure they're all puppy friendly. You name it, I think I probably researched it. Then we got him, and my oh my, there was a complete different type of overthinking that kicked in. A much more toxic one. One that actually kept me up at night. I was constantly panicking. Is he breathing? Is he comfortable? Why isn't he eating all his food? Why is his poo a different colour today? And all the other thoughts came in. I'm a bad pet owner. I can't do this. I'm not good enough to have him. All these thoughts were taking over every day, and it was draining me. Honestly, it was 100% draining me. Until I realised, wait, this is me overthinking everything. And it was becoming unhealthy. I checked myself. I had to. Because after a few weeks, all of a sudden, it eased up. The pressure I'd put on myself started dropping, and I started noticing how happy he is. Most puppies, wiggle their tails when they see their owner. But my puppy, honestly, he wiggles his whole bum, running towards me as fast as his little legs can go. We've actually nicknamed him Wiggle Bum. And it's realising that if I kept those thoughts going, I would lose out on maybe not being present with my puppy and maybe never feeling good enough. I didn't want that. And now those thoughts have slowly gone. I'm really enjoying seeing his character come through. Just a shame he loves my partner more than he loves me. I think I secretly need to give him some more treats maybe, sway him back my way. Now I think those thoughts don't just come from pet owners, but parents too. I would like to say that if you're listening to this and you're going through the same thoughts, then remember, don't let these thoughts overtake your mental and emotional well-being. Having a little one is challenging enough, so try scrap these thoughts as quick as you can. Believe in yourself and trust in yourself. You got this. You just have to believe it. We're coming to the end of this podcast, and I thought it would be nice to say, if you think you're alone, then you're not. I think a lot of people overthink the struggle with overthinking, but remember the negativity that comes with those thoughts. Don't define you as a person. You are so much more than that, so don't be too hard on yourself, and make sure to find ways that work best for you to get out of that state of mind as quick as possible. From breathing exercises to recognizing what's happening. You're strong enough to do that. You just have to believe that you are. So I guess it's time for a bit of homework. And in our last episode, I asked you to be more mindful of your achievements and start saying you're enough. With this episode, I want you to practice something that I'm even doing myself. Every time you go into an overthinking state, try focus your attention on something positive. For example, if your mind's screaming at you that you can't get out of bed, and whatever you've got happening in that day is going to be genuinely difficult, then take a deep breath. Remind yourself you can get out of bed and check those negative thoughts. Throw that duvet off, jump out of bed, smile and say, yes, I did it. Now keep that momentum going. You got this. If you have any stories, questions or tips, please share them with me. I would love to hear from you, so reach out via our website, social media or email. Your stories and questions might even be featured in the future episodes. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope these stories have inspired you, offering hope, courage and resilience to keep moving forward. Stay connected with us at onwardshift.com. Until next time, keep striving.